if we're walking around your neighborhoods and children would say something to you to be mean.
I wasn't allowed to leave my house.
Yeah, that's because you're a girl. Like, you're not allowed to leave.
Well spotted.
Hello and welcome to Rewatching Home Movies, a weekly watch-along podcast where three friends break down the 1999 animated series Home Movies. My name is Tim, and I'm obsessed with home movies.
My name's Adele, and I'm a home movies newbie.
My name's Marcin, and I've never seen home movies.
Well, welcome back to episode 2 of Rewatching Home Movies. We're going to break down season 1, episode 2. Before we do that, at the beginning of every episode, I want to kind of settle into a little corner, a creative corner, if you will, where we just talk about something creative. It could be something creative you're working on. It could be something creative you're consuming, but just, you know, something you want to give a little shout out to in the creative realm. So does anyone want to go first? Or?
Do you have anything on?
I do, but I'd rather someone else go first.
Okay, that's fair. I'm glad you were honest with me on that.
Thank you.
I don't like taking the mic when I don't have to. There's so many things that I'm consuming, so it's like, I don't know, but...
Pick one.
What's the one that makes you the most
if you say
jazzed?
happy. Jazz. I watched A Silent Voice a while back, and it's an animated movie. I don't want to say it's an anime because it was a movie, but it was really good, like really genuinely good. It made me cry like 7 times because I was so blind walking into it. I really loved it though because it was about a guy who had social anxiety, and I didn't know that. But the way that they put it into the movie is that something bad happens to him as a kid. He gets traumatized. Then he grows up a little bit. And now everybody around him has a big X over their face. And he can't look at them. He doesn't know like how to interact with them. And as he does interact with these people, like the X's just kind of fall off. And it's a really, really, really beautiful movie. And I didn't even talk about the punchline. But the main premise of it, why it's called A Silent Voice, is because he in the beginning bullies a deaf girl who it's really good. I really loved it. It was like 2 hours, and I sat there watching it, and I cried like 7 different times.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like when things make me cry.
Sam, I love crying, especially when it's a movie and not like life.
Yeah, I'd rather cry over a movie than my own life, so I'm for it.
No, I like it too. I just have to make sure I'm in the right like mindset. It's like if I know it's going to happen, you know.
Yeah.
I remember I was like, hey, you should watch this movie, but don't watch it high. And you're like, I watch everything high.
That's my current state.
I can't schedule that in.
What can people watch that on? What can they stream it on?
I want to say steal it because no one should keep having to pay for all of these streaming services.
Amen. First of all, they're getting expensive.
It's so much. It's every single one, and it took it off Netflix. It took it off Max. It took it off. Like you have to have everything.
Yeah.
Is this a live action or is it?
No, it's an animated one.
Cool, because
I really wanna watch that.
There's a website that we use.
Yeah.
Not for this, of course, but it's just Google like watch cartoons online, something like that.
Yeah.
That'll get you in the right direction.
Yeah.
Of a site that you can watch that stuff on.
I appreciate it. I was actually talking to my therapist about it because I didn't think I had social anxiety until I watched that movie, and then I really related to it. And then Nick, my partner, afterwards was like, "So how did it feel as a man with social anxiety watching that?" I was like, "Wait, I had social anxiety?"
I think you have like this kind of social anxiety where like you need to fill the silence,
void.
like that kind of social anxiety where like I have the opposite where I'm like, I'll just sit here and not talk at all.
That would make me feel worse because I'd be like, everyone's looking at me, judging me for not doing anything, for being silent, for being in the corner.
You just gotta do something cool while they're all being like, what are they doing over there?
Yeah, but then it's
so mysterious.
This guy's doing something stupid. What's he doing? It's kind of like, I'm not sure if you have this reaction, but when you're sitting at a urinal and someone's next to you and you're like, oh, they're waiting for they're waiting. I can't hear the piss. Why is this guy not pissing? They're judging me pissing right now. I gotta just piss real quick now. Go. It makes it so hard to piss. I hate it.
Piss anxiety.
Yep.
Yeah, I want to watch that. That sounds good.
It is really good.
Did you have anything?
Sure. Did you want to go next, or would you like me to?
It doesn't matter to me.
Okay. Well, I mean, one thing I can tell you both that I'm consuming right now is a lot of home movies.
Yeah.
Like I usually do. I've been kind of locking myself away to like prepare these episodes, but I think it genuinely speaks to not only my love of home movies and wanting to do this podcast, but my love of you guys. I love you both very much. And I when DJ brought up the prospect of doing this podcast, I was like, holy shit, it involves an animated series that I love deeply and two people that I love deeply as well. So
yeah.
I'm very happy that I get the opportunity to put these together for us and that we get to kick this off.
That's so sweet. That's such a good like first creative corner thing to say. It's just like this is it.
Yeah. I mean, I would also like to point out that was your idea first. I just came back like months later after you had the idea. I was like, are we going to do this?
I swear you brought it up in my Twitch chat.
I think it was like a collective, like you two kind of like brought it up together.
Yeah. I don't even know why it came up. My assumption was maybe my brother was also in chat and he made a home movies reference.
Maybe. I was painting, so I have no idea what was going down.
I think I just said I never seen home movies, and I actually hated it when I first saw it. And because of this episode, which we'll get into, but yeah.
Yeah. My turn? The thing I've been consuming for months, and Tim can probably attest to this, is her name is Ethel Kane, and she is a musical artist, and she came from a Southern Baptist home, so a lot of her music is like touching down on like religious trauma, and she's also trans, which is like also is a part of it, and it's just really well done. Her lyricism is like so beautifully done. It will make you cry if you had religious trauma. Like that is like my bread and butter. I don't know why. It's just something that itches a scratch.
I mean, I feel that way too. You sent me a lot of her TikToks, I think.
Was I probably yeah, that sounds right. And like her aesthetic is very like Southern Gothic, which is very up my alley.
Her music videos are very well done as well.
Yes, yeah. And there's it's just I don't want to give anything away as far as like the songs, but I encourage people to look her up and just experience it because it's beautiful.
I love talking to you specifically about religious trauma because I feel like me and you are on the same wavelength.
Yeah.
I've talked to other people without religious trauma, and they don't get it.
No, they don't.
They really don't.
It's literally something that affects, this might be sounding dramatic, it affects your day-to-day life.
It affects every single thought I have.
Exactly. And it's something that is always going to be with me until I'm no longer here on this earth.
The amount of shame that goes into it, the fact that, not to make this about that, but just real quick, of every thought, they would tell me like, oh, God can hear your thought.
Yeah.
So I'm judging every single thought. Like, get out of here quickly before he sees.
Oh no, my thoughts!
I just ordered a sign from not sponsored Temu of it was like it's a little like a corner that you put on the top of your door and it's Jesus and it says I saw that.
Yeah, he's like kind of poking out.
I'm debating if I'm going to hang it up in the bedroom or the bathroom. Those are my two go-to spots.
Bedroom probably because if
makes
it's in
more
a
sense.
bathroom, he's just a pervert.
I mean, he's a pervert either way.
That's true. Every hotel has the cuck chair. Anyway.
Oh God, you're right though.
Episode 2, 9 minutes in. The cuck chair finally arrived.
The cuck chair.
Wait, what was the name of the episode?
Of this episode?
Yeah.
Should we hop into it? Do you want to?
Sure.
I mean, yeah, we could jump into it.
Or are you just wondering in general?
I was wondering because I thought you just said that. Because my question here was because he shows a home movie. He makes a home movie in this one. Do they show a title? Do they say the title of this home movie?
No, I don't believe there is a title.
Damn it.
Yeah. In episode movie is just kind of a generic man to monster.
Yeah. Episode 2, and it's already fucked up what you were going to do of writing down each movie's title.
It's a little bit unnerving and upsetting, but I'm going to make my own up.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to put.
Do you want to guess what this episode is called? We just watched it. So.
Yeah, I mean, is it like Don't Make Me Do Work or something like this? Like I hate speeches.
No, it's more from Paula's perspective.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Because I did have a thing written down. We'll get into it because she said something that I like later in the episode, and I had a thought when she was talking to Brendan, which we'll get into that, and she kind of confirms it later on.
Yeah. Ooh, I feel like she does say the title of this episode.
She does.
Yeah.
She does. So it's 2 for 2.
Okay, don't tell me the title until we get there.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. I'm not sure if that messes up your whole premise of the start.
Well, I mean, as soon as you say let's get into it, I'm going to say Home Movies Season 1, Episode 2, and then say the title.
All right, cool.
So, ready?
Yep.
Yeah.
You guys want to just jump into it?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's do it. This was Home Movies Season 1, Episode 2, titled I Don't Do Well in Parent-Teacher Conferences.
Okay. All right.
The original air date for this one was May 3rd, 1999. It's one of the original UPN 5, written by Brendan Small, Bill Brodus, Lauren Bouchard, and Tom Snyder, directed by Lauren Bouchard. Our synopsis, as per Home Movies Fandom Wiki. Paula is forced to attend a parent-teacher conference after learning that Brendan has not done any of his homework for the entire year. She tries to vouch for her son, but her communication skills are terrible and has no other option but to encourage him to display a better work effort. She fails in doing so, and Brendan simply becomes overstressed.
Do you guys hate public speaking? I mean, you me pointing at Tim, the comedian.
So, funny enough, I was just telling somebody I did enjoy speech class in school. I didn't enjoy preparing speeches, and oftentimes did not, but the part of going up in front of the class and talking never bothered me.
Can't relate.
I was gonna say I loved it. I loved the opportunity to get in front and have attention. That was the type of kid. I was a middle child. Like, I needed attention. That's just who I was.
Yeah.
So any opportunity to get in front of the class, I was like, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
Buckle up. Yeah, I enjoyed speech class too, just because I did overly prepare, and I think I did well in speech class, but generally, like, when it comes to public speaking, I just rather have Tim do it for me.
Do you remember a speech that you nailed?
I actually got I got an A, I think it was just a solid A, in speech class in college, and one of the ones I nailed was, it was actually, we could pick any topic we wanted, and I picked medieval torture.
That's really funny.
Yeah, and it was, the whole speech was like different types of medieval torture across like different countries and stuff, and I fucking rocked that shit.
That is so fucking funny. I had medieval torture that I did for a speech. I made a prop. Me and my mom made a prop of a guillotine made out of cardboard, and we worked really hard on it. The guillotine was great, but I did not work on the speech, and I fucked it up. I flunked it. The teacher saw all the work I put into the guillotine, and still gave me an F on the speech in front of everybody. I don't know what it was. I didn't think about. I was like, I got a guillotine. Come on.
What else do you need?
Yeah, it's right here.
Like, obviously, you see where the effort went on this.
Yeah, I put my head in it. Come on, it's funny.
I think that was the best speech I've ever done. But besides that, I really, really related to Brendan in this episode. Like, a lot. Because I hated doing homework. I have in my notes, I say I too hated homework, and I too had ADHD. Because it's like, I just couldn't be bothered. If it wasn't something I wasn't passionate about, I gave zero fucks about it.
Mm-hmm.
Two speeches I remember from grade school, because I do remember we did different types of speeches. I did I don't know if you remember, one type was a demonstrative speech, where you demonstrate something. And I demonstrated my famous Chef Tim's peanut butter surprise, where I made a sandwich that was pretty much like Texas toast, peanut butter, Fruity Pebbles. And everyone's like, okay, all right. And then I pulled out from under the table a jar of pickles and some mustard. And then I added those and was like, all right, everybody line up. And like, nobody wanted to try it.
I have a question. Have you tried this?
Yeah, I ate it.
Is it good?
I mean, it wasn't like, man, this is great, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be.
It reminds me a little bit of, I think it was like 2 years ago, where everybody's like, man, if you put mustard on watermelon, it's fucking just so tasty. And it's not.
It's not that it's tasty. It's just not as disgusting as you thought it would be.
They're gaslighting you. I don't know. They want you to just fail.
Yeah.
But another type of speech that I remember from school was a persuasive speech, in which you're given a topic. Now, this wasn't my speech. This was someone else did a persuasive speech about the importance of change, like coins, like physical. Yeah, it was like, oh, inspiring. And then they had a piece of cardboard with a bunch of nickels, dimes, and pennies and quarters glued to it. Because at the time, for some reason, there was all this talks about them getting rid of change, paper money only. And this was a speech that was the importance of keeping change. And I mean, very good speech, really well done, well researched, great visuals. Like I said, a huge piece of cardboard paper and change all over it. And they really made a great case for why we shouldn't get rid of change. We need it. It's great. And they did the speech and then proceeded to walk to the garbage can and scrape all the change directly into the garbage.
Was that part of the speech?
No.
But that's so good as a bit. That's such a, like, I love that. Like, even just stepping away from it, that's just like a politician. Like, this is what I care about. And then it's like.
And it was done with, like, no self-awareness at all.
Wow.
Like,
That's
they were
so
just
funny.
Like, that's why we need to keep you in. And
What grade was this?
oh, this was probably like 5th, 6th grade.
Okay.
So probably
All right. So
maybe
it was a
around,
child.
Yeah. Around Brendan Small times.
Great speech.
I would have gone in that garbage can so fast and got all
I
that
know, right?
change.
I remember being very afraid when I was in 6th grade of public speaking before, like, I kind of came into my own and wanting the attention.
Yeah.
And I remember I was running for student council at one point, and I had to write a speech, but I couldn't. I just had I had a cool slogan. I was just like, I'll just say the slogan. And then I got up, walked to the front, and then get ready for my speech. There's a right way, there's a wrong way, and there's a con way. We need the con way. And then I went back to my seat, and my teacher was like, wait, hold on, where's the rest of it? And I was like, what? I got a cool slogan. That's the best I got.
That is really good, though. I like that a lot.
Yeah, my dad gave me that one.
Oh.
He used to because he grew up in Chicago and he's like to fight all the time. So he's like, I used to tell people all the time, there's a right way, there's a wrong way, and there's a con way, and you chose the con way, and then he would fight him. That's what he would told me. But my dad is 5'6". I don't believe him. I do not believe him.
That's so funny.
He was just
that.
beating up children.
Just kids that came up to him and just like disrespected him I don't know about you guys, but if we're walking around your neighborhoods and children would say something to you to be mean,
I wasn't allowed to leave my house, DJ.
yeah, that's because you're a girl. Like, you're not allowed to leave.
Well spotted.
Wow,
Something
called
might
her out
happen.
everything.
Women are like men.
No, I need to bring that speech. I need to figure that out because there's a way that I'm trying to explain it because it's clearly he's a small-minded man and that's how his viewpoint is done. But we'll get to it later. Next episode we'll bring it back up to it.
Oh yeah.
My sister dealt with a lot of that though. Like, you can't leave the house, and like me and my brother were outside going nah 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 nah.
Oh, you guys suck.
Oh no, my
brothers did the same thing.
It was blatant misogyny.
Yeah.
Like, just blatant.
When I was in high school and if I was home alone, my dad didn't want me to sit in the front room with the big window because he thought people were looking in at me. He's like, you have to go into the back of the house when we're not home.
Your dad thought that like kidnappers were window shopping.
Yeah, like they were waiting for everybody to leave just so they could look at me in the window. Yeah.
There's that thing. Let's get him.
Let's get her. Get her, fellas.
Back to home movies.
Sorry.
No, this is exactly what I wanted.
Yeah, I feel like this podcast is going to be Tim like reining in DJs and mine ADHD a lot.
That's okay.
There's going to be a lot of talk about sexism and bigotry and Catholic guilt. A lot of that.
What can you do, man?
Yeah.
It's real.
Hey,
It's here.
well, I mean, it's relevant to home movies and life.
I hope H. John Benjamin listens to this and he's like, what the fuck's going on here? Why aren't they looking at how great my jokes are?
Trust me, I've listened to some of the director's commentary with H. John Benjamin. He's pretty guilty of going off on him. Don't worry about that. I think he would enjoy that part of it.
Oh, good.
You can cut this if you want, but I watched the Snakes on the Plane commentary, and it was the best thing I've ever done.
Really?
Yeah, at one point, the people having sex in the bathroom, and Samuel L. Jackson just like, he's trying to get a snake in his plane. Like,
Oh my god.
switch that up. He's trying to get his snake in her plane. That's what he said, but like in the Samuel L. Jackson way.
Well, with that being
Nailed it.
said, this episode opens up with the flickering TV that I was telling you about, and the song that I love so much. We cut to Coach McGurk at soccer practice yelling at Diane repeatedly. All the players, including Brendan, look a little confused. Tells Diane not to fall, at which point Brendan informs Coach McGurk, that's not Diane, that's Cindy. McGurk, trying to figure out whether they have a Diane or not, yells for Cindy and Diane to come in which he only sees Cindy coming and says, I guess we don't have a Diane. That is brilliant.
Yeah. I love that.
That made me laugh so hard, and I hated it. I hated that I was laughing at that so hard.
Oh.
I guess we just don't have an idea. Oh, yeah, that's right. We don't have Diane.
Oh. We find ourselves inside the elementary school, which, in all of my research, never has a name. It
Really?
is just elementary school. No name on it, no name on the wiki, nothing. Elementary school is what it is.
Missed opportunity.
Yeah, well, what are you going to do? I don't think I know what state they're in either. Or town.
Well, they said they have seasons, so that narrows it down.
There you go. All right,
Middle
detectives, or gumshoes, figure that one out. We gave you all the clues.
Maybe, well, we are watching it every episode, so we could try and pinpoint it.
Yeah.
It's
We can try.
just like Simpsons trying to figure out what Springfield it was.
Yeah, we'll see. So we're at elementary school in Anytown, USA. We see Melissa giving the end of her very well-prepared speech, a lot of therefores and furthermores and in conclusions. Mr. Lynch, the teacher, voiced by Ronald Lynch, says, nice job as usual. Ronald Lynch, I believe, was kind of a bridge between Lauren and Brendan and kind of the main players of Soup to Nuts, which we saw at the end, production company. So kind of as a thank you, they wrote the character of the teacher, Ronald Lynch, specifically for Ronald Lynch. So Mr. Lynch is he gets to play himself, I guess.
I drew a doodle of him.
Nice. Yeah, he's very doodleable. He calls up Brendan to do his presentation. Brendan is obviously very nervous. He's stammering. He gives it like, I meant to talk to you about that. Very evident he did not prepare for this speech. He asks the class how they're doing, to which only Melissa replies, good. Brendan, stammering, says, I want to talk about my shoes. While looking down, Mr. Lynch is making some disapproving noises as Brendan talks about his birthday coming up, at which point Mr. Lynch just stops him and tells him to see him after class, to which the class reacts as you would assume an elementary class would react to someone. Have you ever been called down to the principal's office?
Bro,
Never.
man.
Never.
No?
No?
I was a good kid.
I mean, I've been called down even for like I didn't do anything wrong. Like
Yeah.
they just had to inform me of something, whatever. But when the whatever principal's aide, whatever comes over, can you send DJ Conway to the principal's office?
Oh, yeah.
And the entire class is like, ooh!
Everyone looks at you, and it's just a big deal. How are you a good kid? You were wearing
was
an Invader
quiet.
Zim shirt.
Oh, well, that's high school.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. No, I got in trouble a lot. There was a lot of trying to be cool and trying to, like, I got into fights because I was trying to, like, have, I'm masculine, I'm a boy, I'm a man.
Conway.
Yeah, exactly. I was trying to live up to
My way or the Conway.
yeah. So and every time it was a big deal. It just, ooh. And the thing is, I was never cool. Like, no one liked me because I did that. I was just, I got to do this. I hated being called to the principal's office. It was rough.
Yeah, I got called down. I remember in junior high, a big group of my friends got called. I don't even remember what, but there were so many of us that the principal was like sitting here and all the kids were like sitting here, but there was nowhere else to sit. So I was sitting behind him. So I'm just like making faces at this dude and mocking him. And at one point, like he turned, he's like, people are laughing. Like, I know you're doing something bad. And I'm like, I'm just really paying attention.
I'm just really, everyone laughing at how much I respect you.
I'm going to tell you my principal's name in junior high, and you're going to think that I'm lying.
Okay.
I had Mr. Gaggenheimer as my 7th, 8th grade principal.
Mine was Mr. Condon. Everyone called him Mr. Condom.
What?
I can't remember a lot of them. I had Mr. Payne, which I thought was spelled P-A-I-N, but it wasn't. But I never bothered to look up what it was.
First name Max.
Then I did have a music teacher named Mr. Wagstaff, which I thought was perfect. He was born to be a music teacher, yeah. And my mom did not like me going to get tutored by him because she kept saying he's going to teach me how to play the skin flute. Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah, my mom's homophobic, and we don't talk anymore. But I loved that his name was Mr. Wagstaff. There's just like some names that are just so perfect for someone.
Oh, yeah.
God.
Gaggenheimer.
So when you guys were called down to the principal's office, did you guys ever get like yelled at, or was it just a stern talking to?
No, yeah, I got yelled at a lot.
Oh shit! What'd you do?
There are so many different things, man. Like,
Things you'd like to forget.
Things I'd like to forget. There's just like, I remember getting into a fight, and my counselor, who has talked to me about all of this stuff and trying to like keep me out of being in fights, and we had just had a conversation, I think that the day before, about not getting into fights anymore, and then the next day some kid pushed me and we were on the wrestling team together, and he was disrespecting me. And so I was like, he can't push me. That means everyone else is going to think that they can push me. And I'm a man. I got to be strong. And so I pushed him back, and then he pushed me back, and then I punched him in the face.
Oh, shit.
And he hit me twice. I punched him like 3 times, but those 2 times he almost knocked me out. I was like, and
I've never been in a fight.
You are so lucky, man. It's scary. It's really scary. I hate it. I always hated it, but like I got some lucky shots on him, and he was bleeding. So everyone told the entire school that I won the fight.
Hell yeah!
You say
Street
that
cred.
His brother. Years later, his brother got in a truck and found me walking on the sidewalk home from school, and came up behind me and choked me out. And I passed out, and he threw me on the ground.
Oh, my God.
And I woke up, and they were both around me thinking they killed me. And I pretended that I was not angry with them just so they would leave me alone. And I got up, and I was like, oh, that was awesome. You should do it again. Just so That's not how I felt. I was scared to death.
Yeah.
I wanted them to leave me alone. And then they hand shook me. And then his brother was like, I just got protective of my brother, blah, 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 blah. And then they walked away. And my friend at the time was AFAB and looked at me and was like, I will never understand men. And I was like, I'm terrified all the time. That's how you understand. I'm just terrified.
Yeah.
So yeah, sorry for that tangent. But
No, we don't apologize for our tangent.
But I remember walking back after the fight, and my counselor was like, really? Really?
We just talked about this yesterday.
Me covered in blood. Anyway,
It's
don't
the
fight. It's not
Conway.
fun. It's not fun. It's scary.
Don't fight, kids. Literally, the next episode is about Brendan getting into a fight.
I should have saved the fucking story. No,
That's
I'm sure
okay.
you have more stories.
Yes.
I do.
No, as
I
you
do.
were telling that, I'm like, oh, this would have been so great.
I have more. Don't worry.
Yeah.
And I'm not proud of them. I want everyone to know. Please don't do it. It's not cool. No one thinks.
I
you're
think
cool.
I'm sure we'll hear some more next episode. I'm
Yeah.
excited. So after this, we cut to Brendan talking to Mr. Lynch after school. Mr. Lynch says he thinks he should bring his mother in. Brendan's like, I'll talk to her myself. Don't worry about that. Mr. Lynch gives him, dude, you're a smart kid. Take some thought to make your little movies.
That was condescending. I didn't like that.
Put that in quotes. Your little comedy thing is something I've heard way too many times, and it hurts every time.
It's real cute. It's real cute.
It's cute and little. Thank you for acknowledging that. And that he should take that energy and put it towards projects for school. And this is the first time Mr. Lynch threatens Brendan repeating the 4th grade. That is a little bit of a theme. Brendan asks for a second chance on his presentation, and Mr. Lynch grants it to him. This scene fades directly into the following scene, which is Brendan explaining to Melissa basically everything Mr. Lynch just said. Melissa even kind of gives him that, like, oh, what do you got to do? Or what should you do? He's like, well, I do the presentation. She's like, okay, well, that's it. You do the presentation. He's like, yeah, of course. I just told you that. Melissa is worried Brendan isn't taking the situation seriously. One of my favorite lines, she's like, stop thinking about yourself and think about me as a Melissa and how she'd have to deal with Brendan not being in 4th grade while she moves on to 5th. Brendan suggests that she gets held back too. She claims she's just not as good as not doing her homework as Brendan is, which is another total kind of a little backhanded. I'm just not as good at not doing my homework.
I know, she's real good at that.
Yeah.
Can I just real quick, not to have an interjection, but Melissa, is she just like the straight man throughout the entire series of
I wouldn't say throughout the entire. She has her moments as well.
Okay.
Yeah. One of my favorite episodes revolves around Melissa and some of the issues that Eric feels that because she, Brendan is growing up in a home with just his mom and his sister. Melissa, it's just her dad. So she's got no female role model in her life, where Brendan lacks the male role model.
Okay, that's fun.
Yeah.
I'd like to see more of Melissa, because as far as I've gotten just from these 2 episodes, she's just there as a Hermione type.
Yeah.
Just I'm super smart and you're not.
Yeah,
so
she is oftentimes the voice of reason. Yeah,
I'll take her over Jason. I'll take her over Jason every time.
This is the thing. I love all 3 of these characters, Brendan, Jason, and Melissa. From episode to episode, it will kind of shift who my favorite that episode is, or who I kind of relate to. Yeah, no, I like Melissa a lot. I like her character as well.
Okay.
Melissa asks if there's anything he could do. Brendan, says he's allowed to redo the project, where Melissa explains how much time and effort she put into her presentation, going to the library, Xeroxing a book even. And Brendan says he's just not willing to do all that, to which Melissa offers her speech and suggests that He just changes it up a little bit. Have you ever done that? Like taken someone's...
I mean, I wrote my brother's young authors quite often.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, oh, another chance at redemption? Another chance to win? Never did.
I was, especially with homework, I was the kid that was like frantically filling out homework the day it's due. I've rarely prepared for speeches and stuff like that. I was like that, but I think especially with speeches, I was pretty good at bullshitting my way through it.
I mean, did you guys have those groups of people you'd like be at the cafeteria table and just be like, what'd you get for this answer? What'd you get?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
I had quite a few friends who were willing to be like, here, just write down my answers. And I'm like, okay,
Yep.
I'm not going to say no to that.
I remember doing that, and then the teacher who was we were doing her homework, and she came in, grabbed all of our papers, and walked away.
That's bullshit, man.
was
It's a group effort. You can't be mad about
It's
that.
group study time.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what you wanted us to do. Do the work?
Learn
It's
something.
the same
Gross.
answer.
Yep.
Right. If you get different answers, you could be like, well, wait, why did we get different answers?
My parents think vaccines don't work. You think you think this is going to teach me anything?
If I recall, I feel like my math book had the answers for like the odd numbered problems. But not
In the back
even
of the
ones in
book.
back.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So it's like, okay, well, I got half of it done.
Yeah.
Everything from here is
You're at
just
least going to
kinda-
get a 50%. Yeah.
Yeah. If I do that and then bullshit my way through 20 of the 50 remaining questions, I don't know. We'll figure it out.
We all survived. We're here now. We're doing a
Oh,
podcast.
yeah.
Exactly.
Barely.
Maybe we worked on the other things of the world to fix instead of this kid didn't do his homework.
Yeah.
Brendan runs home, nervously says hello to his mother, and she immediately informs him that Mr. Lynch called and told her about the speech subject, i.e. his shoes. This part, Brendan says, "Oh, Jesus." Again, this aired originally on UPN. They bleeped out the word Jesus.
Really?
Yes. Absolutely.
A war against Christianity.
When it re-aired inevitably on Adult Swim, and then obviously when released to DVD, it wasn't bleeped out. But I guess even when they bleeped it on UPN, you knew what he was saying. At this point, Paula threatens Brendan that he's going to get held back, and this is when Brendan confesses that he is so far behind and basically has not done any of his homework for the entire year, which
Relatable.
is wild. The fact that at this point now your mom is getting contacted when you have not, I swear, like in my school, you don't do your homework like 2 consecutive times. They're like, all right, cool, we're calling your parents. What's going on?
I went to a Catholic school that didn't like having like bad numbers as far as like moving kids forward. So if you didn't do your homework, they'd just be like, okay, do all this extra credit real quick.
Yeah.
My brother had a drawer where he would come home and take out the homework assignments and put it in it, and he did that for an entire year.
Holy
and
shit.
At one point, my mom was cleaning and opened the drawer, and it was just chock full of papers, and she was just... It was like the scene from Ratatouille when the guy is reading it. Just, oh, he was in trouble, man, dude.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I see. I used to get like detentions and shit, and I would run home and grab them out of the mail before my parents saw it. And they had 4 kids, you know, the hustle and bustle. They can't keep up with everything.
I mean, the thing is, like, even if it was, it's not just laziness. It's really just not, it's not just laziness. Like, I was in varsity wrestling all 4 years, and I had to get up at 4 a.m. to come to practice at 5 a.m. I had to work out, I had to go to class, and then I had to work out again at gym, and then I had to work out afterwards for 3 hours and dog, I'm not doing fucking homework. Fuck you.
No.
Go fuck yourself. I'm sleeping right now. This is my free time in your class.
Did you guys go to schools where they really favored the sports players?
That's the only way I survived.
Yeah.
That's the
Oh,
only way
yeah.
I survived. And we were even like the redheaded stepchildren of the sports people. No one cared about the wrestling.
Shit. Yeah, my high school was big into the football, and they had like actually like cut art programs to appease the sports and football,
Wow.
which is like so fucked up. And
Yeah, that's why. Well, I mean, our school football was a huge thing too.
yeah.
And basically, if you were a good enough football player, then yeah, you would find that extra credit or get just enough answers right. Like that happened all the time.
I mean, it's across the board. It sucks really bad because art is so important to me now that I wish I was in theater. I wish I wanted to be so bad. It would have changed my life.
Yeah. So Paula tells Brendan this is unacceptable, that Brendan has so much potential, in which Brendan replies, he's like, you don't think I feel bad? He's like, I'm on your side. Which I love, that total classic kid thing to turn around like, no, I agree.
Yeah. what was it like? Oh, you're such a good parent. You're so loving. You're so like, I'll do the dishes.
I'll lay your clothes out for you tomorrow.
I'll make you breakfast.
So Brendan brings up the parent-teacher conference, which Paula says she doesn't do well at parent-teacher conferences. And then, Brendan, first he says she's only hope, that she's got to go in, schmooze him, sweet talk him. Paula insists she can't do it. And Brendan totally turns it around. He's like, you got to have the right attitude. You're so smart. We can lay your clothes out for tomorrow. Like totally role reverses it.
Now, this is where I had the thought here, because when she was like, I can't do this. I can't do this, which is wild because normally in a lot of different genres of cartoons, you see the parents, they're like, yeah, I'll just go to, like, they won't make a big deal out of it. And she's going, I cannot do this. Like it's,
yeah.
And then in my head, I was like, oh, does she have ADHD? I think she brings it up and confirms it. I think I wrote it down.
Yeah, a couple scenes later, she does talk about her
OCD.
She does, and she calls it obsessive compulsive disorder.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really interesting, and I was like, oh, damn. Right there.
Relatable.
Right. Well, again, this is all Paula Poundstone. For the most part, 99.9% retro scripting. So this was probably a lot of stuff that she was dealing with at the time. So we're going to move to our next scene. We've got Brendan, Jason, and Melissa setting up to film parts of a new movie. Taking inspiration from his own life, Brendan writes a movie about a guy who doesn't do his work and hates giving speeches. Has a big speech coming up, did not prepare for it. Having Jason play the role of the monster, he becomes when he has to give a speech. Jason says that they should shoot all of the monster parts, i.e. his parts, first, and then everything else after. Brendan informs him they cannot do that because he doesn't have the ability to edit, so they have to shoot in sequence. To which Jason is like, well, people film out of sequence all the time. Brendan's like, how do you know this? And he's like, oh, I read it at Scorsese on film. And then Brendan gives him I'll think about that before, okay, action.
I wrote this. I'm going to think about that. I quoted that specifically because the way that he was directing it, sometimes you're on set, people say something to you as an idea and you want these ideas to flow. But when it's in your head, like this is how it's going to go. Because clearly I really liked how he fell down under the desk and the monster just rose.
Right.
You can shoot that out of sequence, but it's just so much easier to have the camera right there. Just do it, come out, go for it. And I really loved the way he's like, yeah, I'll think about that. Because sometimes,
action.
Yeah. I mean, because you guys saw it too when we were shooting on Saturday. Ideas just start flying at you, and you have to kind of hold on to it. So I really liked watching him actually direct this.
Yeah. And then obviously, Jason's entire motivation is like, well, I want to do my fun scenes. Screw you.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brendan calls action. In the movie, Melissa brings Brendan up to give the annual report. Brendan approaches nervously, stammers through his speech, and then groans and says, I think I'm going to turn into a monster. And then he falls behind the podium. And then that's when Jason stands up in the full monster getup. A concerned citizen says the monster is using telekinesis, to which the monster replies, that's right, I'm going to use telekinesis to burn you up. That's pyrokinesis. Telekinesis is moving shit. But,
I didn't even get that.
Yeah, they're kids. They don't know. We cut to Paula giving Josie a bath while on the phone. Classic Paula Poundstone, retro scripting. She's telling the person on the other end how bad she is at parent-teacher conferences. One of her biggest issues being that if she's in a situation where it's inappropriate to cuss, she can't help it. She also says she has OCD. She says what she thinks, which can become a problem. And then she also admits to bringing drinks to the last parent-teacher conference. So,
yeah, that sounds relatable.
Yeah, obviously not a great track record. So the next scene I can break down. It's Brendan as the captain of the army, talking about how it's his duty to kill the monster. I can break the scene down right now, or we could just watch it.
Yeah, let's just watch it.
Let's do that. Okay, so this is Brendan as the captain of the army.
Seems that the monster has taken over New York, and it's my duty as captain of the army to kill the monster.
Excuse me, monster coming through. Coming through. How you doing?
Aim for his heart. Aim for his heart.
Fire!
Direct hit.
Very South Park there.
Yeah.
Maybe you should look at yourselves before you take it out on me. I'm just one monster. And when I'm gone, you'll remember me. Ow! 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 And then you'll have to look at yourselves and own up to what you've done.
This is the first Jason scene I actually enjoy.
Yeah.
I guess
Classic.
he's right. I guess wrong.
You're damn right. I'm
Such a good
right.
monologue.
I know.
Don't stop shooting.
Okay, hey guys.
Don't realize
Yeah, people are
if you
still
sell
randomly
now,
shooting
I might
at
be
him.
able to get surgery.
I'm gonna tell him. Hold on.
Tell the guy who's shooting to stop shooting.
Let me say, who's shooting?
Oh, for God's sakes, tell him to stop.
I'm trying.
I mean, hello.
I know.
Do you have any control over your people? Ow!
That's just
Who's shooting?
an X of darts across his chest.
Forget it. Leave it alone. I'll just die.
And that's how I feel.
Look, he's turning back to a man.
Why did you make me do that speech?
I love that monologue so much. The line specifically, "Isn't every man a monster?"
Yeah. Just the classic trope of like, yeah, before you call me the monster.
Yeah.
I wrote this down too, and I laughed really hard when he's like, okay, so this is this guy who's doing a speech, right? And he turns into a monster when he really can't do any speeches. I loved that because how often does he project into the home movies, like throughout the series? Do you think on a statistics?
Like, how many times do we like see the movie that they're working on?
No, but like how many times do you think Brennan like literally makes the home movie about what's happening to him in the day to day?
Oh, how many times does he like pull influence from his actual life?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Like I said, like season 3 and 4, like they start taking some really big swings and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's hard to say, but you know, I feel like a lot of what he does is, probably influenced from stuff that's going on.
Yeah, I just really started laughing when he's like, okay, this guy hates doing speeches. And like, I don't know, because I project so much into my art, into my writing and filmmaking that I'm like, you're calling me out right now.
I don't think it's always going to be as on the nose as this one.
Why'd you make me do that speech?
That was so funny.
So
fine,
funny.
I'll just die.
The following scene, we are in the teacher's lounge where Coach McGurk is confronting Mr. Lynch about Brendan not being at soccer practice due to being held after class. I'm just going to say right now, McGurk and Lynch scenes are usually my favorite. There are multiple episodes where they have to interact in one way or another, sometimes competitively, sometimes friendly.
Nice.
And it's always so funny.
I'm looking forward to that.
McGurk expresses how important it is Brendan is at every practice because they have a big game coming up on Saturday. And Mr. Lynch is very uninterested in the conversation. At which point McGurk asks, what exactly do you teach? To which Mr. Lynch responds, it's 4th grade, so he teaches everything except soccer, which is one of my favorite lines. Coach McGurk gets defensive and says, well, soccer isn't the only thing he teaches. That's just the fall and winter sport. He also has a spring sport as well, but it's also soccer. Mr. Lynch asks if Brendan wasn't doing well in soccer, would the coach want him to be doing better? And this is when the coach confesses he gets very uncomfortable talking to Mr. Lynch because he feels like Mr. Lynch is always being condescending. He says, if that's the case, I'm going to kick your ass. But if not, then we can just settle it right now. So I'm going to ask you, are you being condescending right now?
And then it just cuts.
And that's it. That's the end of that scene. The next scene, we're back in Mr. Lynch's class. He's bringing up Brendan to take a second shot at his presentation. Brendan goes up slightly more confident than before and then proceeds to talk about how bad he did last time and how this time, you know, he went to the library to prepare and then immediately goes on a tangent about how you can't just go to the library and expect a presentation to fall into your lap. So it's at this point Mr. Lynch realizes he did not prepare and, ends the presentation. We come back from a commercial break. We see Brendan in a soccer game. The coach is yelling at him for letting the ball get by. Brendan's solution is to grab the ball and inevitably fall to the ground, cradling it. So coach sends Melissa to go in and pull Brendan out. As soon as Melissa goes on the field, they get a penalty for too many players, and Brendan gets completely out of the game. Coach asks him to run to the store and buy him some soda. And then we cut to a random kid getting hit in the head with a soccer ball, which is always a great gag.
Yeah, I think you referenced that last episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like, oh, that's going to be... And then when it happened, I was like, that was it?
Well, I think it happens frequently.
I heard the ball sound effect. I was like, I have that sound effect.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, that was probably part of the $5 budget.
Yeah.
Was to buy that sound effect for $1.25 or whatever. We then have a quick scene of Paula talking to the babysitter, going over the rules and the general information. The babysitter replies with a series of over and over again, including to the question of how late can you stay?
Is the babysitter related to McGurk?
So I do mention it later. The babysitter looks weirdly like Coach McGurk.
Yeah.
Like a little girl, like the clothes that she wears and everything.
The form, the way she's standing, the posture.
Yeah. I don't think it's ever brought up. I'm not sure if the babysitter ever shows up again.
Who voices the babysitter?
Oh, I have that right here. The babysitter is voiced by Sam Brown.
Really?
Of The Whitest Kids You Know.
Oh. Yeah. I only watched like a couple skits.
Again, like how they use comedians, they let them retroscript. Because it's the next scene, the babysitter is going through the freezer while talking on the phone, commenting on a selection of frozen foods, saying some of the stuff is so old it could kill her, and they devise a plan to be the first person on the phone to sue someone from dying from eating sherbet ice cream. I also call it sherbet. It's sherbet.
Is it?
Yeah.
I say sherbet.
I've always said sherbet.
Yeah, same.
It was on Kids Next Door. They said sherbet. There's an episode all about sherbet.
Is it like a Mandela effect thing?
I'm sure. It's just like the
sherbet.
There's like
Sherbet.
Bernstein. You bring up the Mandela effect around Nate, and he'll freak the fuck out.
Oh, no.
There's so many things that he feels the universe has gaslit him about.
Like Sex in the City and Sex
in the City.
In the City.
Yeah.
And the City, yeah.
There's so many of those.
I just saw the character Dwayne on screen, and I wrote in my notes that I would have been friends with Dwayne.
Yeah, he's actually coming up in the next scene here, because after the babysitter's commenting on frozen foods, we're then downstairs. Brendan, Jason, and Melissa are continuing to film. Jason and Melissa are like a family. Melissa's holding Josie. They're welcoming Brendan to their small town. Jason's character immediately starts prodding Brendan about his past, which is just so he's like, well, what about your past? To which it makes him uncomfortable. They bring up that it's his birthday. They offer him cake and encourage him to give a speech. At this point, we hear the music swelling up, and Brendan turns back into the monster. Now, playing the music is Dwayne. Mm-hmm. Dwayne is, I think he's either the neighbor or lives in the neighborhood. Dwayne is and will be providing majority of the music for Brendan Small's movies.
Perfect.
Brendan is the 8-year-old version of Brendan Small. Dwayne is what Brendan says he was at like 14.
Ah, I see.
Very into guitar. We talk like this. Don't care. Don't care about nothing.
My whole friend group in high school.
I wish I had a friend who who just knew how to play music. I would have been like, yeah, come on in here. He also reminds me weirdly of one of the drummer from Your Favorite Martian, which is a deep pull, and if you guys don't know, it's fine.
I got nothing.
It's okay. Ray William Johnson. We'll move on.
We'll move on. So Brendan turns back into the monster. He yells out, "You wouldn't like me when I give a speech," like a reference to the "you wouldn't like me when I'm angry."
Yeah, I did write that, switching places like the Hulk in the 80s. Like, so I was like, oh, that's great filmmaking.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't catch that because I never saw that film.
I neither did I.
Oh.
But weirdly, they made it about his father, quote unquote. They said David Banner was going to be the main character, which the original Hulk is Bruce Banner. But the reason they changed it to David, because literally studio execs said that Bruce was too gay of a name.
Oh God. How do you even make that correlation?
Because people are afraid of their own sexuality and masculinity.
Yeah, who would have a name Bruce as a superhero, Bruce Wayne?
You can do it, Brucey.
Bruce.
Classic movie.
So yeah, that's a reference to Hulk. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry. You wouldn't like me when I give a speech. So at this point, Jason is the monster, starts chasing Melissa around while Dwayne plays heavy music. Yeah, this is our first time seeing Dwayne. Provides the majority of the music for home movies, also voiced by Brendan Small. Yeah, we're finally at the parent-teacher conference. Mr. Lynch and the two other women who are consistently, frantically writing things down. Paula immediately starts talking about her OCD, tells them that it means two things, that she can't be quiet and she will constantly speak off topic. She's then informed that she will probably say fuck over and over again. So it might be a cousin of Tourette's. She then proceeds to say fuck over and over again.
During an interview that my cousin had at a library, he was talking to her during an interview in the kids section of the library, and he just like, yeah, so where's the fucking...
Oh, my God.
And she stopped. She's like, oh, this is kids section. And he's like, it has haunted him to this day.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Then she says she needs to take off her sweater because she's really fucking hot. Next scene, the babysitter lying in bed talking on the phone. Do you guys want to just watch this one? Or?
Yeah, they just bring it up.
I think this one is pretty funny. So yeah, this is the babysitter. Well, Jason and Melissa are downstairs working on the movie. She is talking on the phone in, I believe it's Paula's bed.
That's what you want to call it. He was a wimp. I kind of, he wasn't going to put his arm around me, so I put my arm around him, and I could feel him twitch a little bit, so I tightened my grip a little bit, and I said, don't twitch, relax, just relax, we're having fun, and I could feel him, like, trying to pull, he was pulling the other way, and I was like, hey, I really like you, I think you're really a nice person, and I pulled him in, and all of a sudden, lo and behold, he's in a headlock, he's like, let me out of this headlock! I don't know, he hasn't called.
I don't know why. I think I was so stuck on, like, in my head that was Penny Popular that I was watching that I didn't even listen to that scene. So re-listening to that, I was like, oh, that's actually very funny.
Yeah.
So after this scene, the babysitter were transported to the basement. See Brendan, Jason, and Melissa setting up the next shot. Jason informs Brendan he has a sore throat. Brendan assumes it's from screaming, and then Jason informs him that he also has pink eye. We get the nice, cool close-up shot of his eye with the crust around it. Very nice. Dwayne, very smartly, is like, I'm going to take off.
Yeah.
I'm out of here.
I literally wrote, I hate Jason. Yeah.
I wrote, I love how upset DJ gets every time Jason's on screen. Because he's like convulsing and like, oh shit, the whole time.
Yeah.
Because Jason's just going on and on. Like, and this is the scene. This is the exact scene that I remember switching to as a kid on Adult Swim.
Yeah.
When he was showing off the whatever was in his hair. And I literally was like, this is so, I'm out. And I skipped. That was the exact scene. I remember it because it's burned into my brain. I was so uncomfortable.
What are the odds that that's the second episode?
Right.
That's wild.
Well, that makes sense because it was so ugly that I was like, yeah. So I've never seen any of the later stuff. So
yeah.
I'm interested to see how it evolves.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how your feelings towards Jason evolve.
I just want you to fall in love with him.
Kill him.
So Melissa and Brendan tell Jason he should have stayed home if he's sick. Jason says he's dizzy. He does that cool little kid thing where he proceeds to open mouth cough everywhere. That coughing transitions back to Paula. Back at the parent-teacher conference, she's also coughing. Mr. Lynch asks if she'd like a glass of water. She declines, saying she doesn't drink in front of, quote, you people. The woman asks, is it because of last time? And Paula says, yeah. Mr. Lynch asks her if she drinks a lot during the week, and she says only a little glass of wine every evening, and it then jokes it helps makes doing Brendan's homework easier.
Good mom.
Yeah.
So we quickly cut back to Jason, Brendan, and Melissa. Jason admits that he has a UTI. Melissa and Jason discuss what it feels like. Melissa asks if it burns, and Jason says it feels like there's stuff in it, like rice.
That made me so uncomfortable.
Yeah, that was a bit much. We cut back to Paul at the parent-teacher conference discussing a former classmate. Weirdly, you had to fill up a spit jar as punishment, and it made Paula jealous, I guess.
I don't understand that, but I was just, I don't know, because when you're losing weight in wrestling, you have sometimes, especially if you're overweight, like by a couple ounces on the way there, they force you to spit in a cup.
Yeah, I think it was just another thing to display Paula's OCD, going off talking about like literally everything except what they're supposed to. We cut back to Brendan and Jason and Melissa. Melissa confesses that she has eczema. And Jason screams that, I do too. Elbow, knee, and crotch. And then he goes as far as showing his cradle cap, which I think was DJ's favorite scene.
I hated it. It's like I time traveled.
Yeah.
Go away. Get out of here.
Yeah, so he shows Brendan and Melissa his cradle cap, saying one time he picked it in class and Mr. Irving hit him, and that Miss Hanneman also hit him once when he pooed in class.
I will watch cradle cap removal videos on TikTok. I find them very satisfying.
Oh.
Makes me uncomfortable.
So same with earwax removal.
I
don't know what it is.
I like pimple popping.
Oh, yeah, same.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I do for a living, so I better like it.
Wait, you pimple pop?
I pimple pop.
Oh
I
my
pop pimples.
God.
We're learning things about each other. Like, I am disgusted by all those things.
You make me watch Jason, this is what you deal with.
That's so
Okay,
ironic
calm
since
down.
you're getting married to somebody who loves disgusting
Real
things.
quick, and I'm sorry if you have to edit this out. Do you guys do you pop Tim's pimples?
We now find ourselves back in the teacher's lounge. Coach McGurk is confronting Mr. Lynch, saying they lost the big game 31-0, making it 14 years
Years
in a row.
That line was good.
Yeah. McGurk says he might take it up with the school board committee or the principal, but instead what he's going to do is I'm gonna pull on your bow tie here in front of everybody to embarrass you. And then he's like, I'm going to do the thing where I touch your shirt, and then when you look down, I'm gonna hit your face.
I do that regularly to everyone I know.
Oh.
And then he literally with smacks his face back and forth.
Yeah, that one got me.
Like not even hard. And then he bends down to untie his shoelaces and tie them together. Now we have a very quick scene with Paula and Brendan where she tells him that the parent-teacher conference was a success, that he's getting a tutor, and she's allowed to continue to be the mom. To which Brendan yells, "You screwed me."
Did either of you guys have a tutor ever?
I had one that I was like in 6th grade. They gave her to me for like a month, and I really actually excelled. And then when she no longer tutored me, I dropped right back down, and I would like form some weird like parental bond with so quick.
That's
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah.
I never had a tutor. I had a speech therapist. I had an issue when I was younger with R's and S's. And I had a speech therapist. I would put peanut butter in my mouth to help me with tongue placement, and I would just eat it.
Hey, free peanut butter, man.
Yeah.
There was free peanut butter.
I also
Yeah.
had a speech.
I had a
therapist.
couple 2-3 tutors. I was not good in school.
Oh,
They thought it was because I was dumb, but really I had no interest in any of it.
There's a book I need to tell you about off.
Okay.
It's called "Why Won't Anyone Play with Me," and it's about like ADHD and how
Yeah?
it like affects everything.
Oh, yeah,
my
I gotta read
therapist let
that.
me. Yeah,
I gotta
I'll send
read
it to you.
that.
I'm going to say this podcast is very ADHD friendly.
Yeah,
I sure
it
hope
is.
so.
It better be. No.
I gotta go.
So we cut back to Mr. Lynch and McGurk. Coach tells Mr. Lynch he doesn't want to humiliate him anymore, and then hits him with one more quick hair tussle to humiliate him. He then tells him that he originally thought his mustache looked silly, and he used to make fun of it to everyone else, but now he's actually coming around. So, quick side note, the character of Ronald Lynch never had a mustache, but in retroscripting, Coach McGurk made fun of it, referred to it, mentioned that it was a thin mustache, so they had to go back and draw it in. So
That's
Love
really good
that.
because that's my favorite part of his character. That's what made me
it
want to
definitely
draw.
works.
That's a good doodle.
Thank you. It's not a lot of design function there, so it was easy for me to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we go back one last time to Paula and Brendan talking at the table where she pleads with him to just show them that you can do it. Brendan breaks down and says he'll actually try this time, but this is the last time. The first time I'll try, but never again. So great mentality. So now we cut to Brendan, third chance to do his presentation. Part of his presentation that's playing is on a TV, so he utilized his ability to film and make movies, where he's just naming directors and saying they all had tutors just like him.
Hell yeah.
Boom. There
All
you
the
go.
greatest people give tutors.
That's right. Great speech. He ends the speech, throws it back to Brendan in class, where they do like, have you? I have totally done this.
Yeah, no, I wrote this down. I did this presentation, this exact presentation.
Where you have to do a part of it as a video presentation, and then of course you got to interact with yourself. And I've seen people try to do it, and like the timing was off, or they skip a line or something, and it's. Yeah, but he goes back and forth with himself.
I remember I forgot that I had like improv'd like the night before when I was doing it, and I'll remember like later, and so I just said an insult to myself, and I actually had a reaction in class, and people thought I had planned that, but I was like, no, I thought he was done.
You just blacked out.
So Brendan then literally finishes his presentation with having his hand behind the TV, pretending he's a puppet, drinking a glass of water while the TV Brendan sings the Star Spangled Banner.
Good bit.
Laugh.
Good
Yeah.
bit.
Classic bit. Which brings us to the very final scene. DJ, I thought you would love this scene.
I did, and I wrote a lot. I loved this. I didn't write a lot, but I was very into it.
So this is the final scene where Brendan is at Mr. Lynch's house, and he is simply asking him to do some reaction shots to a monster attack. Brendan starts him off with some basic lines such as, "Oh my God, it's a monster." And he's wrecking the city. He encourages him to go on. Mr. Lynch's performance gets more and more ridiculous until Brendan is like, "Okay, let's dial it back. That's a bit much."
I personally love the way that Brendan is directing it, because he's like doing it the way that I am trying to get out of, which is to think that at any moment my actor can just quit on me. So I need to be like, oh yeah, just give me a reaction shot. Yeah, go quickly, let's go to the next one. Hey, can I get another reaction shot real quick? Just because at any moment in my head, they're like, they could just walk away. There's no contract here.
Right. But have you ever had it before where you're like, all right, just something nice and basic, and they just take it way over the top?
Literally doing doorman lines for the redub, and Eddie was improvising, and it was just, he went way off board. He was talking about Air Bud, and I was like, can you just like bring it back? Like, he went on a way big rant.
Oh boy,
it happens a lot in D&D, to be honest. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
you're a high schooler, what's going on?
Oh, the magic of editing.
Oh, I know. No, that's the only way.
So,
that I think
that's it. That is season 1, episode number 2. I don't do well at parent-teacher conferences. What are our thoughts? What do we think, kids?
I really liked this episode just because I related to it so much.
Yeah, same.
I liked this one better than the first one. I mean, I really liked the first one too.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're giving it a grade, I'd give it an A-.
A-.
Yeah.
That's really interesting, because I actually wrote, there's an actual structure. There's an actual structure to this episode.
Yeah.
But I also felt like it was less congealed for some reason.
Yeah.
The improv of the first one had the charm. Like, that's why I liked the charm to it.
Right.
And then there was a lot of improv, but not enough. Like, there wasn't a lot of flow to it. It was just like, here's a scene, improv, versus the first one was like improv, and then all the scenes kind of flowed with the improv.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I liked the first one more. This episode had a lot more structure, and it felt like there's like, here's this scene, here's this rising action, all that jazz. But I wasn't a huge fan of it. I'd probably give it a C.
Okay.
But
well, this episode specifically did traumatize you as a child.
That's true. That is true. Jason,
yeah, there's probably something.
Do I have to rate Grayson? Do I have to grade Jason every episode to see how he's doing?
If you'd like to, if you want to check in every couple episodes, how you're feeling.
Well, the first episode fucked me over. I'll give him an F. Because he's just talking about how much he is constipated, and I really don't enjoy that.
Yeah,
I really don't. So I'm going to give him an F on the last episode. I'm giving an F on this episode, too.
Yeah. I think it was the cradle cap that got you.
Yeah, that was, it got me back then.
I find this very interesting because I agree it is a little more structured. And I think especially with the first episode, now that we know that the first 8 minutes were on spec and then they had to fill out the remainder 12 minutes or so. So it does feel a little more disjointed. I agree with that. But I'm actually going to give this one an A- because I do like it. I enjoy it, but it didn't quite hit, I think, like the first episode did.
Yeah.
We gave it the same grade.
Yeah, we did. So that's where I stand with that. Let us know. Are we wrong? Are we like
probably
completely off? Let us know what you think. We're gonna make an Instagram, rewatching movies Instagram.
I can't wait to see how your brother reacts to our grades of these episodes.
Yeah. Well, I already informed him that there's one very specific episode we're gonna have him on as like a guest, and I told him, like, you don't have to do any work, dude. Yeah. I'll do all the grunt work.
Just show up.
Yeah, all you got to do is show up. So, looking forward to that. So I think that pretty much finishes it off. You guys, anything else you want to add to this episode? Anything you want to plug or promote?
I just wanted to say, I think Coach is rubbing off on me. I really like his charm. Like,
yeah.
I really liked how quickly he was like, you know what, you're actually not a bad guy. Hey, we should hang out. Those little jokes like, hey, what if I just like hit you in the belly and like
ruffle your hair a little bit?
It's like, that's just an older brother I've always wanted.
You can have mine.
Which one?
I'll keep Jack. You can have mine.
The wrong one.
Sorry.
I want the home movies one. But that's pretty much as I would add to it.
Okay. Well, this episode, like all episodes, is brought to you by the Happy Corner Podcast. The Happy Corner is nice enough to let us use their recording studio for our podcast. So check out the Happy Corner Podcast. They stream every Sunday at 1:45 on Twitch and YouTube under the Happy Corner Podcast. Audio versions of the podcast can be found wherever you get your podcasts. I need to say podcast 3 more times. Podcast.
Podcast.
Do you guys have anything you want to promote, plug? We are on a little bit of a time crunch here.
I'll just do the Eldritch Journeys and Puzzle Valley. Puzzle Valley is a high school teen detective story I really like. I put a lot of work into it. These two can tell you that. Same with Eldritch Journeys. That one's taking a bit of a hiatus because I have so many different projects going on. I'm about to start the season 2 of Puzzle Valley 2000 in March. That's when we're starting. I don't know when the episodes are going to come out. And we just started production on season of The Curse 2. 2, which also has an Instagram, which I think I will add, and we'll do a bunch of stuff like that once we
add them to the show notes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So that's what I got.
Yeah. I have nothing.
Oh,
That's not true. You have so many paintings that you're doing.
I have paintings, but I have nowhere that I've
You
been...
need to start an Instagram.
I mean, I have a TikTok, but we don't need to talk about that.
Yeah, you can
Okay.
start an Instagram.
Yeah, I'll start an Instagram, and then
Yeah.
I'll plug it next time.
There you go.
That's my goal for the next episode.
Sounds good. We'll get them in the show notes starting from episode 1, because by that time we'll have everything established. So
Yeah.
we're good there. And that's going to do it for Season 1, Episode 2, I Don't Do Well at Parent-Teacher Conferences. Join us next week for Season 1, Episode 3, The Art of the Sucker Punch. If you liked what you heard, find us on Linktree at RHMPod. There you can like and subscribe, email us, or leave us a 5-star review. I will read 5-star reviews on the podcast. On behalf of myself, Tim, and my co-hosts, Marcin, a.k.a. DJ, and Adele, thank you for rewatching home movies with us. We'll see you next week. Bye.